In this video, I will build a formula that counts unique distinct values. So, what are unique distinct values? This list here has a number of countries, and all values here except Italy has a duplicate. And so unique distinct values are all values except the duplicates. And in this list here, that would be France, Germany, and Italy. So there are three unique distinct values here. And to build a formula that counts unique distinct values, I will use the COUNTIF function. And the COUNTIF function lets you count a value in a cell range. And in this case, I'm going to count multiple values. And to do that, I'm going to use this cell range in the first argument. And in the second argument, I'm not going to use one value, I'm going to use multiple values. And the COUNTIF function here will return an array of values. And so I need to enter this as an array formula. Hold Ctrl and Shift and then press Enter. And then to see all the values in this array formula, you need to extend the formula to cells below. And this array here tells us that there are 3 France in this list here, 3 instances of France, 2 Germany, and 1 Italy. In order to count, for example, France only one time, I need to divide this array 1 with this array. And to do that, type equal sign 1 divided and then the array, and this will return this array of values. And since there are 3 instances of France, 1 divided with 3 returns a third, and 1 divided by 2, 0.5. And if you add all these 3, you get 1. So there's only one instance. And that is exactly what we want. We want to count France only once. And Germany is here and here. And 0.5 plus 0.5 is 1. So the next thing to do is to use the sum product function and then copy the formula so far, paste it here, remove the equal sign, and then an ending parenthesis, and then press enter. And this formula tells us that there are 3 unique distinct values in this list here. And this formula is not case sensitive, so if you change first letter here in France to a lowercase letter, nothing happens, because this formula considers this value equal to this value here. So keep that in mind. This list here has a duplicate here, and the formula can't handle duplicates, so we need to change the formula. And to do that, I'm going to use the if function, and in the first argument I want to know where the duplicate is, and to do that I will use this cell range, and I want to know if it is not equal to nothing. And then in the next argument I will use number 1, and then in the third argument I will use 0, just to show you what happens with this if function. And here you can now see that I've entered this as an array formula and extended the formula to these cells here. And here is the blank, and the corresponding value in this array of values is here, and it returns 0. And this allows us to ignore this value here. So I'm going to copy this formula and replace number 1 here, the second argument, with 1 divided by countif, and the first argument in the countif function is this cell range here, and in the second argument the same cell range and an ending parenthesis. And that's about it. Then enter this as an array formula, so hold Control and Shift keys and then press enter, and then extend the array formula so you can see all the values here. The last thing to do is to sum the values. So type equal sign and the sum function, parenthesis, and paste the formula so far. Remove the equal sign and then an ending parenthesis for the sum function. And now enter this as an array formula. So hold Control and Shift and then press enter. And now we have a formula that works with blanks in your list. The formula I will build now will count unique distinct values, and it will consider the lower case characters and uppercase characters. And in this case here I have AA and AA down here, and the formula will not count this value here and this value here as the same value, because the first letter is a lowercase letter here and an uppercase letter up here. And I'm going to use the exact function to compare the values in this list here. And to do that, I will show you first how it works. exact function, and the first argument is going to be a cell reference pointing to this cell here, and then the second argument a cell reference to this here, this cell here. And you can see that they are the same, so the exact function returns true in this case. But if I change the cell reference in the second argument to this cell here, it will return false. And if you compare that with only using the equal sign, so if I compare this value with this value using the equal sign, it will return true, because the equal sign is not going to consider the upper and lower case letters. So it returns true in this case. So I need to build an array that compares all the values here with each other. And I will show you how to build that array. And to do that, I'm going to copy the values here and then copy them and transpose them to this row, the second row here. And to do that, I'm going to use paste special and then click transpose and click OK. So now we have these values here and here. So it will be easier for us to see what the array returns. So type equal sign and exact function, and then compare. The first argument is going to be a cell reference to this cell range here, and in the second argument I need to transpose the values. So transpose function, parenthesis, and then a cell reference to this cell range here, and then an ending parenthesis. And now press and hold Ctrl Shift and then press Enter to enter this formula as an array formula. And now extend this to this cell range here. And the formula compares this value with this value. It then compares this value with this value, and so on. So if we look at the values, the Boolean values here in this array, you can see that this value here is equal to this value here and this value here. So it returns true in these cases or locations. And this means that there are two values that are equal to each other. And now I need to add the values here. And the first row is true here and true here. And true is equal to 1 and false is equal to 0. And to show you that, I'm going to add an asterisk and multiply the Boolean values with 1, and that will convert the Boolean values to integers. And now we can use the mmult function to add the values for each row. And equal sign and parenthesis, and now I need to copy the array so far, the formula we built so far. and the mult function has 2 arguments, and the second argument will be an array that has the same number of rows as this array here. So row and this cell range, and I want all the numbers in this array to be 1. And to do that, I use this character and then 0, and then an ending parenthesis, and now hold Control and Shift and press Enter. And I want to show you in greater detail what I've done here. The row function returns the row for each cell in this cell range here. So it will return 3, 4, 5 and so on. But what I want is 1 in each value here. And to do that, I use this character here, the power of, and then the exponent is 0. So this will change the numbers here to number 1. And this array here allows us to sum the values in this cell, in this array here, row by row. And in this case, in the first row here, 1 plus 1 is 2. And we can only see the first value in this formula, so I need to extend it and enter it as an array formula once again. And now we have an array that tells us how many times this value here exists in this list here. And it also considers lower and uppercase letters. The next thing to do is to use 1 and then divide 1 with this array here, to make sure that we only count unique distinct values. So equal sign 1 divide, and then the formula so far and an array formula. And the last thing to do is to sum these values in this array. So the sum function, parenthesis, and an ending parenthesis, and an array formula. And there are 7 unique distinct values in this list here. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, this is a duplicate, 5, 6, this is a duplicate, 7. So there are 7 values, 7 unique distinct values. I will now build a formula that counts unique values. So what are unique values? Unique values are values that exist only once in a cell range. And in this case, it is Italy, because there's only one instance of Italy in this cell range here. And to count values, use the countif function. And the first argument is this cell range, and the second argument is the same cell range. And enter that as an array formula, so hold Control and Shift and press Enter. And then to see all the values in the array, extend the formula and then click in the formula bar and repeat. And here are all the values in the array. And this array tells us that France has 3 instances in this cell range here. Here, 2 and 3. Germany, 2. And Italy is 1. So to know where the unique values are, we need to compare the values in this array with 1. So copy the formula and paste it, and then an equal sign and 1. And this will return Boolean values. So if the corresponding value is 1, it will return true, and if it is not 1, it will return false. And 3 is not equal to 1, so it returns false. 2 is not equal to 1, and so on. This value here returns true. And to sum Boolean values or add Boolean values, I need to convert them to integers, and to do that I will multiply them. So equal sign, parenthesis, and an ending parenthesis, and then an asterisk to multiply the array with 1. And now enter this as an array formula. So false is equal to 0 and true is equal to 1. So extend it, and now we can see all the values. So in this list here, there's only one unique value. So the last thing to do is to add all the values in the array. And I'm going to use this sum product function. And this allows us to enter this as a regular formula. No need for entering it as an array formula. So simply press enter. And we now know that there's only one unique value in this list. Now I'm going to build a formula that counts unique values. And unique values are values that exist only once in a list. And the formula considers lowercase and uppercase characters as well. And to build such formula, I need to use the exact function. So type equal sign, exact, parenthesis, and the first argument is going to be this cell range here. And the second argument is going to be the same cell range, but I'm transposing the values. So I can build an array that compares all the values to each other. So enter this as an array formula. Press and hold Ctrl and Shift and then press enter. And I also want to show you that the values. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here. And also paste it here, up here, but transpose. Click OK. And now extend the formula to all the cells in this table and repeat to build an array formula. So hold Ctrl and Shift and press Enter. And the array returns Boolean values. So if we look at the first value in the list, it returns true for this value here, which is the same value. And it also returns true for this value here. So this means that this value is not unique. It exists twice in this list. The next value has true here, but all the other values are false on this row. So this value is unique. So to add all the values for each row, use the mult function and type $, and I forgot. First I need to convert the Boolean values to zeros and ones, and to do that multiply this with 1, and now it returns 1 for true and 0 for false. And now I can use this array to add the values for each row. So $, and mult, parenthesis, and the first argument is this array, and the second argument is going to be an array that has the same size as this cell range here, and all the values must be 1. So to do that, I'm going to use the row function and then this cell range, ending parenthesis, and power of character, and then the exponent is 0, I believe, and then an ending parenthesis. So enter this as an array formula, and I want to show you what I'm doing here in the second argument. So $, row, and this array here, this cell range here, and this returns the row number for each cell in this cell range here. So it will return 3, 4, 5 to 11, and you can see the array here. But I want it to contain 1 in each value. So to do that, the power of and 0. And now the array contains value 1 in each instance. And now I need to extend the formula so you can see all the values in this array. And this array tells us that this value here exists twice in this list here, and that is true because it's found here. You can see it there and there. The second value is unique because it returns 1 in the corresponding value in the array. This value here is unique because the value 1 is found here. So now we need to know how many unique values there are. So I need to compare this array with value 1. $, and 1. So this will return true or false if the corresponding value in this array is equal to 1. So 2, is not equal to 1, so it returns false. And 1 is equal to 1, so it returns true. And to be able to add all the values in the array, I need to convert them once again to zeros and ones. And to do that, parenthesis, and multiply the array with 1. So false multiplied with 1 is 0, and true multiplied with 1 is 1. And this means that false is equal to 0 and true is equal to 1. And now we can count the values in the array using the sum function. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are 5 unique values in the array. Copy this, equal sign, sum function, and the array, ending parenthesis, and enter it as an array formula. And it returns 5. And this value is not unique. This value is, so 1. This value is unique. 2, 3. This value is not unique. This is unique. 4. This is unique. 5. And this is not unique. BB is not unique, so the count is 4. And this AA is unique, so this is the 5th value in this list that is unique.